Welcome back to Soul Dive with Roshani, AD and Lydia on Live FM's BRIMBANK Live. We've been chatting all things COVID on today's show, and we've had some fun busting COVID myths, as well as opening up about the rise and fall of COVID in our own lives. We're now joined by some callers for our very first Soul Dive Talkback segment to extend that spotlight in understanding just how people are going. We have our first caller on the line, Julie from Albion. Julie, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
We're good. Julie, tell us, how has your life changed and altered since COVID?
Well, I guess how hasn't it changed? I work in the education sector. I work at Western Autistic School, which is a special needs school. So we have been open when everyone else hasn't been, which has been really, really hard. Having kids who are prone to anxiety and them feeling it has been extremely difficult. I guess that's the way my life has been the most difficult during this time, because I don't mind being at home. I'm at home. Yeah. I don't really mind that, but work-wise, it's been really hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess, being an essential worker and working as a teacher and working with vulnerable children, that must be, super difficult, especially within these times, and the young children kind of going through, that anxiety that's heightened during this time as well. How have you been able to kind of keep that going with the children at your work and being able to work from home?
So when we were on site, we were doing different things like temperature checks and getting them to wash their hands a lot. But again, with quite sensitive children, when their sensory needs are so different to ours, that's been a struggle. And now working from home is difficult again because our teaching is so hands-on. So even getting our kids to sit down for 20 minutes a day, really hard, or having them focus on someone who's not right in front of them and focus on a screen has been really tricky. So working from home program is just so different than I would assume a mainstream school's program is. But we're doing our best. We're trying to stay safe.
Yeah.
We're staying a lot more connected this time than last time. Last time we were closed. We didn't have daily classes with our kids because it is really difficult. But this time we are making the effort to stay connected and see them every day, which has made such a difference. It's so lovely to see their faces and they get so excited. So that has been a nice change, I guess. But we weren't at
your
all.
experience as well is really a testament to the fact that, we're all experiencing COVID uniquely. And thank you so much for the work that you're doing, because it's full of highs and lows, and you're definitely exposed to the lower end of it, in the sense that you're dealing with the vulnerable people every single day. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure the children are really grateful as well for you continuing to show up and just trying your best to keep in contact and in communication and keep them educated, really.
Yeah, shout out to teachers out there for sure. Thank you so much, Julie. We've got our next caller, Melanie from Sydenham. Hi, Melanie.
Hi, everyone.
Melanie, can you tell us, how has COVID impacted on your life?
So I'm currently studying my master in teaching, and that has been really difficult in the preparation and training for me as a teacher. So all my placements in school have been postponed and cancelled, but now I'm currently doing them online, which has been a new experience for all of us, and it's going really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that idea of online learning is quite a tricky one. How was the transition for you going from kind of face-to-face learning to online?
Well, having experienced it in my university, I kind of know how to make those changes, and it has been really successful. The school that I'm at, their online learning program is working really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Melanie. We'll go to our next caller, Reese from Footscray. Reese, how are you?
He seems to have dropped out, so let's go to our next caller.
Nicole from Footscray. How are you, Nicole?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Nicole, tell us, how has your life been impacted by COVID?
Well, to be honest, I'm still working. Like, I go to work every single day still. So it hasn't really changed that much. I think the only thing that's really changed is you realise how work, home. Like, I feel like each day kind of feels a bit like Groundhog Day-ish. But I've been really lucky enough to be able to work and be an essential worker still. So I feel very lucky during this time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what do you kind of, in terms of your work, are you working kind of every day as kind of normal, or like what kind of work do you do?
Yeah, so we're working as normal still. So I work for like a plumbing and heating and cooling. So like we're like essential. We're lucky that we're an emergency service as well, because some plumbers had to close. And I work in accounts, so it's a bit hard right now when people are like having money issues to do my job, because it's my job to kind of chase up anything outstanding. So it's a bit hard.
Oh, that would be an annoying job right now.
So bad. You feel really guilty because like people are struggling, but then people need plumbing work. But at the same time, feeling very lucky that I even get to go to work, because I know so many people that haven't got this opportunity. So taking each day, because even though I'm working, you still kind of wonder what's going to happen the next day.
Yeah, for sure. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Soul Dive with Roshani, AD and Lydia on Live FM's BRIMBANK Live. Thank you, Nicole. We're going to go on to our next caller, Naveen from Footscray. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. So tell us, what has it been like for you during this time? How has COVID impacted your life?
Well, first of all, I've actually only been in Melbourne for like a bit over 2 weeks. So to come from Sydney and to walk into what felt like a post-apocalyptic movie was quite scary, And I think one of the things that really kind of struck me is just that so much of what's considered everyday life in Sydney that we've been taking for granted has completely stopped here. Like just the simple fact of walking out the door and forgetting my mask. And having to turn around and be like, oh, damn it, I've got to do this,
Yep.
And in my line of work, like I've always worked from home generally over the past year and a half or so. I'm a research assistant at the University of Sydney. And one of the impacts that I've noticed is that prior to all the lockdowns and everything, I was quite optimistic about my chances of getting a job in the university sector in Melbourne. But what's happened now is we have about 21,000 jobs projected to be lost in the university sector, when it's research assistants, lecturers, and there's this feeling of uncertainty that's kind of hanging over everything. And so on the one hand, I'm grateful that I feel that I can transition to different types of jobs, but on the other hand, there is that what I thought the future would look like 6 months ago is completely different now.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess that idea of job cuts happening like left, right and centre, it can be quite daunting, especially when you kind of have a plan and you see kind of how your future and your career is going to look like, for sure. Thank you. Go for it.
I want to jump in and say, I don't think we realize as Melbournians what the gravity of the situation that's going on here. Like the rest of the country is pretty much business as usual.
Yeah.
It was really interesting for Nibane to come here in the middle of all of it and be like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, this is us. Like, is it like that where you just came from?
So confused by the normalization of everything, and just like something as simple as going shopping has really opened up my eyes. Like I understand the need for all these health measures. 100% everybody should wear a mask and do the right thing, but it is jarring to see.
Definitely is.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Naveen. We're going to go to Alan. Alan, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, love. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Alan, let us know, how has your experience been during this time of COVID?
Well, I do music and I work in a bar on the side. It's definitely negatively impacted my experience with music because I've had to push back releases. I've had to cancel shows or cancel filming for like upcoming releases. However, it has most definitely improved my mentality of like slow living and just actually just being exactly where I need to be and not rushing ahead of or like thinking about too much at once. Because I think as a musician as well, like I'm most definitely getting my head some days of like, you've got to be here by a certain point or whatever, but it's actually made me come back to myself and go, all right, like calm down and just connect with yourself, like connect with your space, and in turn it like is making creative like ideas and like energy flow a lot deeper, because I don't have that worry or like fear of what's going to happen, because it's just happening, isn't it? Like,
that's true. And the entertainment industry's like been one of the hardest hit as well. So, and it also happens to be an industry that's extremely fast paced and so much going on all the time. You kind of always have to be upbeat and like have the energy for it. So I think it is a really nice time for creatives to like kind of come back to themselves, like you've described.
I also think like everyone's so in a rush in their life. Like everyone is in a rush, man. And it's like life isn't going anywhere. Like my favorite artist is Sade, and she went 7 years in between albums at one point. And it's like she's living her life. And sometimes I think everyone's so consumer based that they're not taking any time for themselves to like really get to know themselves and like tap in to what they actually feel. And instead they're looking at God knows what on the internet to like
that's too much.
It's been definitely a good time to come home to myself and like get into my space,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just being gentle with yourself and taking time for sure. Thank you so much, Alan. And lucky last, Chris, how are you going?
Too bad at all. How are you?
Yeah, good. Chris, tell us what has this time kind of brought for you in terms of how your life has changed during COVID?
I guess the main impact is I've just graduated from my degree at uni, so that's been exciting. But I was actually undertaking an internship at the Western Bulldogs, which I stuck out probably a month before COVID kind of hit. So that was a bit disappointing. But now I'm finding just the daily struggles of having to try and job hunt in a kind of time where a lot of people are no longer working. So just trying to apply for graduate roles and just standard jobs, pretty much whatever's out there really. And that's been a bit of a struggle and a bit of a kind of let down for now, but you just have to stick to it and kind of go with the flow really.
Yeah, absolutely. And congratulations on graduating, by the way.
Yeah. It is a testament to the fact, like hearing from several people really shows us that, there is such a difference in the way that we're all experiencing this time. And so it's a reminder to be, I guess, empathetic towards other people. It's a reminder that we are resilient by nature. We all have a resilient like fabric within us that we can tap into, which I feel we've all done. And I just want to encourage everyone to like continue to be resilient through this time, and we'll get through it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Lydia. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's show. A huge shout out to my amazing co-hosts, Lydia and AD, and a big thank you to all our callers who happily shared their experiences. And a huge thank you to all our listeners at home as well. We'll be back next week at 8 a.m. on Soul Dive with Roshani, Lydia and AD on Live FM's BRIMBANK Live. We will see you then.